Americans of Reddit, what is your opinion on switching to the metric system? A 12 centimeters long penis sounds much more impressive. I'm in. If that means rounding up a 32 ounces beer to 1 liter, then yes please. Reports say a man in CA was mugged, and they beat him within millimeters of his life. What difference does it make when big tape measure is lobbying with tens of dollars to keep inches so they don't have to paint more lines? My persuasive speech in high school speech class was about why we should convert. This was 20 years ago. I got a good grade, but people love multiplying and dividing by 25. 4 apparently. Edit. I program CNC for medical device components. Well over half the drawings I see are metric. Machines are programmed in imperial. Many conversions back and forth between inches and millimeters. It's so freaking annoying. As long as we can add Frocton as a unit. Americans will never accept a foreign ruler. Edit. Thank you all for the upvotes and accolades. Metric system is miles ahead. Bald eagle screech. Not moving an inch. I think the world needs to move to base 12. Problem solved. The metric system is the official measurement system of the US. It has been since the early 1980s. However, it wasn't actually put into practice because we've already been using the imperial system for so long that changing everything over would cause trouble to the infrastructure. Like someone else already said, it's the equivalent of forcing a new language onto society because it's now the official language of this country. I would frocking love to do that. It is a lot easier to work with. As far as the country as a whole switching, I would be fine with the UK method of using both imperial and metric to save on having to entirely revamping everything. I'm fine with it. But a larger priority is getting rid of that damned daylight savings time. The US tried to convert back in the 70s, but everyone breached about it. I'm all in for switching. It would be really nice to go to literally any other country and understand size and speed. Edit. Thanks for my first silver stranger. And yes, I personally can do the conversions and understand it's not that difficult, but lots of Americans can't be bothered. The people who need to use it, the academic community, already do. But the imperial system is so deeply ingrained in American culture I can't ever see it going away. If there was a real, concerted effort by the government and several private enterprises, the NFL, car manufacturers, construction companies and suppliers, then maybe. But it would cost billions of dollars and there is little financial incentive to do so. Even if there were gains to be made in the long run, corporations only seem to look a quarter or two ahead in the long run. I think it's one of those things where on paper it makes sense to use metric. But it'll never happen because of the trouble to switch. Not only infrastructure-wise but people understanding-wise. It would like changing our language because there is another one that is easier once you learn it. Miles Davis sounds way better than kilometers Davis. I would if decimeters were more commonly used because the gap between meters and centimeters is too much. As an American, I'm all for switching to the metric system and adopting the pricing rules other countries have where tax is included in the goddamn advertised price for products. I don't really care either way. I find it weird that people obsess over it unless it actually affects your day-to-day life. I see why it's annoying if you're dealing with scientific calculations. I am a member of the Atlanta, Georgia City Council and I just had a lady try to schedule a meeting with us about officially changing to the metric system for all city functions. She tried to confer with us but ultimately we wouldn't meet her. Oh Jesus, this again. I'm a tradesman and machinist regularly working in US standard units and occasionally metric. Each has their strengths and weaknesses depending on what you're trying to do. Most computation is done on a calculator today. So you're just hitting buttons and reading the answer anyway. If you can't figure out how to do whatever task you're doing in both, you probably shouldn't be doing it. The exception to this is estimation. Because being accurate at that depends on your familiarity with the system. In general I wouldn't care. But you'd have to pry my Fahrenheit from my cold, dead hands. C degrees are too big. In metric, 1 milliliter of water occupies 1 cubic centimeter, weighs 1 gram, and requires 1 calorie of energy to heat up by 1 degree centigrade, which is 1% of the difference between its freezing point and its boiling point. An amount of hydrogen weighing the same amount has exactly 1 mole of atoms in it. Whereas in the American system, the answer to how much energy does it take to boil a room temperature gallon of water is go frock yourself, because you can't directly relate any of those quantities. Josh Basil, wild thing. I wouldn't lose sleep on it. But the people who have to replace the signs will.